all the words are written by Danny Rolling, possibly at different times, and then composed together by me into one account.
Crime writer Sondra London is Rolling's advocate and confidant.
Danny Rolling does not enjoy recounting his crimes. He does not enjoy being questioned about it. He went into this project as a way of trying to make some kind of reparation for what he had done. We're not talking about aggrieved victims. We're talking about the state seeking to take a right that they do not have to interfere in what may or may not be said.
Are you married in cyberspace?
If you want to read this document and draw that conclusion, you may.
I'm not asking you to impine my conclusion. I'm asking you whether you are married in cyberspace. It's either yes or no.
I don't think it is yes or no. I don't think that there's any jurisdiction that would recognize this facetious article as constituting a marriage. Sondra, the movie star Arician Elestria, and I, the hallucinated alien, the Gainesville slasher. Danny, do you take this Princess Supreme Arician Elestria as your subgenius wife in spiritual matrimony? Quote, I do. And Sondra, do you take this hallucinated alien as your caged knight, for better, for worse? And the lady says, I think so. Then so be it. You may kiss now. Mwah! Good sugar. The movie star and hallucinated alien forever. Amen. Bonsoir, ma chérie. Love always, your Danny.
Do you continue to write love letters to Danny Rolling?
I write him about 3 times a week, sir. And in those letters, I'm very candid about whatever my feelings might be at the time.
Your Honor, would you please instruct the witness to answer the question I've asked? I asked whether she's writing love letters, and the answer is yes or no.
I have not written Danny Rolling any love letters this week.
How about the week before?
No love letters last week either.
When was the last time you wrote Danny Rolling a love letter?
I'm not sure. I don't have my files with me.
Was it this year?
Was it this year?
1997?
Yes.
Was it after September 1 of this year?
Whoa. I'm not sure. I wasn't, I haven't reviewed my correspondence and assessed the contents.
Did you write him 3 letters last week?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't remember what you put in the letters?
Oh, I remember.
Okay. Was there anything in the letters that professed love or expressed love or the emotion of love? How about the week before?
No.
Week before that?
Maybe.
The week before that?
Maybe. An agreement exists on which both of our signatures are placed. When you say in business, I think maybe that's something else. He doesn't profit in any way. It's autograph collecting, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the journalism, as I told George Wass today. Freedom of speech has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not there is any kind of emotional relationship between the writer and the subject. That doesn't exist anywhere in the literature that affords me the First Amendment right to publish my speech and Danny Rolling's speech. I am a medium of communication under the law. There are different ways to construe the phrase acting on behalf. The Son of Sam law is relevant to someone who collects money on behalf of the felon. There are many kinds of actions I can do on behalf of a person without collecting money on behalf of them. The state's long arguments and dragging all this information in there about love letters on the internet, all this is an indication that they don't have a real case.
Well, let's bring Richard Rosenbaum into this conversation. He joins us from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and he represents Danny Rolling in this matter. And sir, let's put aside the issue of Miss London's right to keep her profit from all of this, whether or not she has that right. Surely your client should not be permitted to profit from these writings.
I don't believe that that's so at all. Danny has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants, and the law in the United States is that you can't hamper someone's financial ability based upon First Amendment rights. So he should not be hampered. He should not be curtailed. If he wants to write, and if people want to read it and they want to pay money for it, that's the American way.
So plainly, you feel that these Son of Sam laws, as they've come to be known after David Berkowitz in New York and the New York City area, are flatly unconstitutional? Blatantly unconstitutional. The Simon & Schuster case dealt with the New York statute 8-0. The Supreme Court, with Justice O'Connor writing, said it's unconstitutional. The Florida statute's even worse. It's more poorly worded. It holds the profits for forever, whereas New York held it for 5 years. There's a plethora of problems with the Florida law. I've already beaten the statute twice on appeal, and even though I don't represent Danny at the trial level, I do intend on representing him on appeal if it goes that far.
Let's bring Leslie Abramson into this conversation, a veteran criminal defense attorney, a regular here on Core TV. She joins us now in Los Angeles. What do you think of this lawsuit?
Well, I mean, I think it's ridiculous, frankly. I mean, for a number of reasons. First of all, there's a sexist aspect to this lawsuit. You know, there have been many journalists or citizens or people who became interested in people in prison and people on death row, who helped them get their stories out to the public, not to glorify murder, but to help people understand this thing that seems to fascinate the public so. And there were no allegations that their relationships were improper or that they were the alter ego of the inmate, and they were usually men. I think, for example, about a journalist here in California who was very close to Robert Alton Harris. But because Ms. London is a female and her affection went farther than just friendship, suddenly she's the alter ego of this man and she is acting in his behalf. Frankly, it seems to me she's acting on her own behalf. And if he wants to allow her to use him and his story for her behalf, she should be allowed to do that. After all, everyone else profits these days off of these murders. Television stations, legal commentators, book writers of all sorts. So I don't see why this woman, or indeed Mr. Rollins himself, shouldn't be able to profit from the public's interest, be it prurient or otherwise, in these kinds of crimes.